On the downhill run from a great afternoon, I want to thank you all again for being here, and I want you also to pay attention to the sponsors of this event. Wouldn't be possible without the great sponsors and the great support we have, and there's a lot of activity that's going on in this room and out in the hallways as people meet new folks and make connections and network. And the governor gave us all an order last night when we had the reception. That's go out and make deals, and I can see it happening already. And so it's really great. And so make sure you thank the sponsors for providing this sort of an opportunity for us to be able to get together. So for this next piece of this here, I'd like to bring Nancy Murray with Berkshire Hathaway Energy to the stage, along with Governor Greg Gianforte, and we're going to have a little conversation regarding energy. Well, thank you, Nancy, for joining us. And I'm going to start with stating a bit of the obvious, and that is the Berkshire Hathaway name. Everyone recognizes the Berkshire Hathaway name, and I think in Montana, whenever you see someone from Berkshire Hathaway, we all have to sit up straight. We recognize that, right, there's a Warren Buffett behind this, and of course there's Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway that's associated with Berkshire Hathaway. You're with Berkshire Hathaway Energy.
That's right.
Is
this on?
Yep.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Berkshire Hathaway Energy is one of the larger subsidiaries of Berkshire Hathaway, Inc. It has a number of affiliates across the country, regulated utilities and unregulated, which is what Berkshire Hathaway Energy Montana is. And you'll notice that we are called BHE Montana, because we have a particular focus in our mission and within our organization.
So when we think about Berkshire Hathaway Energy Montana, there is something that you're sitting on here, and you have an announcement, I think, that you would like to share with us regarding the future of Berkshire Hathaway Energy Montana. Would you like to fill us in on that?
I would be very delighted to, and really appreciate the opportunity. We've had an investment in Montana, wind farms up in the Cut Bank, Shelby area for a number of years. Berkshire Hathaway Energy Montana acquired those recently, and today we're announcing that we're going to be expanding our capabilities there. We're building a 100 megawatt solar farm, and then we're also installing a battery storage system in the area to really enhance the ability, the reliability, the productivity of our wind farms and the solar facility.
Go ahead.
Yes, and if I may, in addition, we're really excited. We're going to be opening an office in Great Falls. We're very excited to have had an opportunity to meet people there, and we've had some really great support from the Great Falls Development Alliance and many others, in addition to folks in the state. So very excited about these opportunities and to have a greater presence in Montana.
Great. And so can you give us an idea of like some sort of a ballpark of what sort of a size of an investment we might be talking about here?
Well, we've got a few zeros attached there.
A few zeros,
yeah.
Well.
I would say between the initial investment and what we're putting in now, we're getting close to $1 billion.
Close to $1 billion with a B.
That's right. That's right. That's $1 billion with a B.
Welcome to Montana. I want to also thank you for being one of our newest members of the Montana Chamber of Commerce and for taking advantage of some of the networking and being able to meet folks. We'd like to talk about the fact that these are great opportunities for you to meet people beyond Great Falls and around the state, and you're in a room full of friends here, and so we want to welcome you.
And we've really felt that welcome. It's been terrific meeting people and listening to the program and what is going on in the great state of Montana. Extremely exciting, very impressive.
Governor Gianforte, energy is a big issue in Montana, and we're in a bit of a different time And I think most Montanans are more accustomed to the fact that we're a state rich in energy. We're a state rich in electricity. That's changing. Can you talk to us a little bit about how important energy is and this announcement is in terms of what it's going to do for Montana's energy picture?
Yeah, thank you, Todd. I just want to start by saying thank you to Berkshire Hathaway for your investment in Montana and continued support and the jobs you're going to create. And the reality is energy, electricity in particular, is the fuel that drives our economy. We kind of get used to the light bulb coming on when you flick the switch. And without continued energy production, we don't have a reliable grid. It's literally the fuel for our economy. Montana historically has been a net energy exporter. We've been keeping the lights on in Seattle for decades, in large part because of Colstrip. We also, because of the coal that we export through the Port of Vancouver, we've been keeping the lights on in Japan for a long time as they've been building out additional energy production capacity there. But our administration has always been an all of the above energy policy, and that's why the investment in solar and wind and hydro, and we have a great story to tell in Montana because our energy production portfolio today is about 60% renewables. And that's more than just about any other place in the country. It's because of our hydro history as well as the investment in wind and solar. So this is really important. I mentioned earlier, Montana consumes about 2,000 megawatts of power. Just with the businesses that the Department of Commerce has targeted, we've identified another need for another 1,100 megawatts. That's a 50% increase over where we are today. So if we don't pursue an all of the above policy and we start picking winners and losers, we're going to see a destabilization of the grid. We're going to see significant increases in price. And that's just another tax that falls on all the business owners. So I'm just really thankful for Berkshire Hathaway's investment and what that's going to do to give us energy that's affordable and reliable.
Yeah, I echo that. And you know, it's a cornerstone for economic success. So we have to have affordable and reliable energy. And so additional investment in that space is critical for Montana's economic growth. We've seen incredible economic growth in the recent few years, and for us to continue on that sort of a path, we need this kind of investment. And so we're thrilled to have you here. Beyond providing additional electrons, you're also going to be generating some pretty good jobs and some good paying jobs. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of those sort of jobs that are going to be accompanying this sort of development?
Certainly. We have some great opportunities some very unusual type of work, some of which is going to require very special expertise and training. We will, during the construction period, we will be adding in our office on a permanent basis probably about 20 people. And then, as I was starting to say, during the construction period, we'll be bringing literally hundreds of people through during different phases of the construction to develop. And of course, that has a wonderful ripple effect throughout communities. And we're talking about the Cut Bank Shelby area, very rural, and an area where an influx of people like that makes a huge difference to everyone, to shop owners, everyone in the community. We will be having long-term operations positions. Supporting the solar, we'll have about 200,000 solar panels spread over about 1,000 acres of former farmland. We're very excited that we just concluded discussions and secured those arrangements. We'll need technicians to support those operations, as well as we have a continuing need for wind technicians. And there's not a lot of people with that expertise, but one of the things that's great about doing business in Montana is the local community colleges will support, we've already found this, will support programs to help people become certified in areas of expertise. And the Blackfeet Community College has a program they're interested in that we're talking to them about enhancing and supporting. One of the very challenging and interesting positions we'll be filling, we'll have at least 5 of these on an ongoing and regular basis. And my colleague over here, Dwayne Howard, runs this operation, is from our control room in Great Falls. We will manage and operate our assets, and then we also provide services to third parties of balancing and scheduling energy. And we're particularly adept at doing that for renewable variable energy. So we offer that service. Our system operators, the people who do that work, have to have special certification. This is a federal requirement to ensure the reliability of the grid, to ensure that you have people who know what they're doing, and to make sure that we'll have a supply of people capable of doing that. We've reached out to the Great Falls Community College and had some positive feedback about our ability to work with them and develop a training program that will give us that type of work. In addition, we will have construction manager, operations manager, usual staff, and we're a very IT, OT heavy focus in our business operations, so number of positions in that regard as well.
Big diverse set of a workforce here with a varying degree of education requirements. Some sound like with a little bit of certification they can come out of high school and go right to work, and some may require some advanced degrees. And Governor, workforce once again is an issue when we start talking about new investment in the state and growing investment in the state. Can you give us some thoughts on some of the things that you think that your administration can do to help ensure that Berkshire Hathaway gets off on the right foot here in Montana?
Well, I think the work you're doing with the community colleges and our four-year institutions is really critical. I've always felt that we've got to bring the marketplace closer to the academy. I think that you get a better result, and these sorts of internships, apprenticeships, and linkages between the private sector and higher ed is really critical. So that's the area we've been focused and in trying to particularly drive innovation in higher ed so that we can work more closely with the community and create, honestly, workforce and employer-specific workforce pipelines, because that is the number one impediment for most of these businesses. So in allowing high school students to come out to a job site and spend time there, get experience, the MTech trade credit that will pay employers to put people through trade school through a tax credit up to 50%, as well as making sure higher ed adapts and innovates to accommodate alternative students. The single mom who's raising 2 kids in a rural location and is bussing tables and wants to be a nurse. We got to help them figure out how to do that without having to quit their job and move to Bozeman for 2 years or 4 years. For the veteran who, has a family, is raising 3 kids, he's working at Home Depot, and wants to be an electrician or a carpenter or a heavy equipment operator, there ought to be a way to do that without putting their life on hold for 4 years, because that's just a no can do. So that sort of innovation, sort of just-in-time delivery of education, adapting to remove the constraint of brick and mortar, to do more remote location for the students that require that. We've got to innovate in higher education. As I've been able to appoint regents to the board for higher ed, as well as the Board of Education, that's really been my mantra. It's like, we got to innovate and we got to build these public-private partnerships to get the academy closer to the marketplace.
And
Go ahead.
If I may, one other really exciting example for us, we're working with Power Engineers, which is a Billings-based engineering firm, and they have led us to folks at Montana State who have an expertise. We're very excited about this in agrovoltaics, and which is merging agriculture techniques, focusing on native plants, good use of the land in conjunction with our solar operations. And we're very excited about being able to work with them and some of the folks they've led us to at the university there to give us guidance in that regard, so that we are, in addition to generating energy, being good stewards of the land, which is so important here in this state.
Well, great, and I want to thank you again and welcome you to Montana. I think one of the great advantages that we have as a state is that you've got access to business leaders and elected officials. You're sitting next to the governor of the state of Montana. You've probably got his personal cell phone number now. And any of these folks that are in higher education, local civic organizations, economic development organizations, chambers, we're all here to see you succeed. Thank you for choosing Montana. We look forward to working with you.
Well, thank you, Todd. And thanks, everyone.